Okay, let's talk about themes and symbols a little bit in the story. We touched on that very briefly in the things they carried. I think if there is a theme, it's a little bit more straightforward in this story than it might be in the things they carried. So here are a couple questions for you. The first one's pretty easy. Who is literally blind in the story, right? And we know that's Robert, okay? But is there a character, or are there several characters who are figuratively blind, where maybe they have the physical sense of sight, but they don't quite see things clearly in the way that other people do? And so now maybe we're starting to venture into themes or symbols, right? So is it possible that even though the blind man, like the man is blind, Robert is blind, he still sees certain things that that the narrator doesn't see? Maybe Robert sees things in the narrator's wife that the narrator doesn't see in his wife, because they seem to have this very intimate relationship between all of the tapes and whatnot. And I don't really know what sort of relationship the narrator has with his wife. Sometimes she just seems like an object, especially when he's like thinking of, keeping the flap open on her robe when she falls asleep, and he realizes that the man can't see, and he's sort of like protecting what is his. So sometimes I think she's objectified, and I don't know if he really sees things in the same way that the blind man sees them. And almost in a literal way, at the end of the story, the narrator sort of becomes blind, right? Because he keeps his eyes closed. Even when Robert asks him to open them and explain things to him, he still keeps his eyes closed, right? So we can think about what it means to be literally blind and what it means to be figuratively blind. And this is something that goes back to the Greeks, where we have, I believe, Tiresias in like I think Sophocles, the Oedipus stories, who's the blind prophet, right? So literally he can't see, but he has this talent for prophecy. Okay, so what he can't see in the real world, he can see into the future. So I think it's worth thinking about who can see literally and who can see figuratively.